This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hey, Rabbi Glatstein, we're going to have two segments here on Parshas Vayishlach. Let me give out the sheets. First, I want to point out something that's very interesting from the beginning of the Parsha. And that is...
Vayishlach?
Yeah, Vayishlach. Yeah, this is.
The beginning of the Parsha, Yaakov Avinu offers a tefillah to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and Yaakov Avinu says, Rebbeinu Shalom, Hatzileni na miyad achi miyad Esav. Please save me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esav. And Yaakov's question is, this is a repetitive term. Hatzileni na miyad achi miyad Esav. I mean, his brother is Esav, and Esav is his brother. He could just say, either Hatzileni na mi Esav, or Hatzileni na me'achi. And the Chizkuni points out, well, if you would just say Hatzileni na miyad achi, maybe it's a different brother. And if you would just say Hatzileni na me'esav, it might be a different Esav.
Yeah, other brothers.
So therefore, he had to be very precise in his terminology. Hatzileni na me'achi, Hatzileni na me'esav.
Did he help him with love one?
He didn't have.
Did he have any brothers?
He didn't have another brother, and I don't know how many other Esavs there were in the world. But says the Zohar HaKadosh that we see from here that it comes to teach you that when it comes to tefillah, a person has to be very precise in what name he says. So you think, why does it matter? Hashem knows who you're talking to. No. When it comes to tefillah, you need to be absolutely precise. I'll tell you a story that's brought down in the Sefer Igroi Sofrim. The Igroi Sofrim is the biography of Rabbi Kiva Eger, the Chassam Sofer, and Rabbi Shlomo Eger, and the Ksav Sofer. Actually, the Igroi Sofrim has a number. There's a number of letters. You have that letters from Akiva Eger, from Chassam Sofer, from Reb Shimon Sofer, from the Ksav Sofer, and so forth. And in one of these letters over here, it brings down a story that somebody once wrote a letter to Reb Shlomo Eger, the son of Reb Akiva Eger, and he said, look, my wife is very sick, and he says, I want you to do me a favor. Send a letter to your father in Pozna, Rabbi Kiva Eger, that he should pray for my wife. And if you do that, we promise you, he was a very wealthy man, 200 fur coats for the entire yeshiva. So, Rabbi Shlomo Eger said he would do so, and the matter got put on the back burner, and a few weeks later, the husband said, no, did you ask your father? And he said, you know what? It's not my derech to bother my father for something like this, that he should daven, but you know what? I'll do it. And finally, what happened was, he sends the name to his father, and he gets back a letter from Rabbi Kiva Eger. And Rabbi Kiva Eger says, Hispalalti be'ad Sarah bas Rivka. I prayed for Sarah bas Rivka. V'lei na'anesi. That wasn't answered. Ulai yesh taos b'shemais. Maybe you gave me the wrong name. So, what? Here Rabbi Kiva Eger knows that, first of all, he knows whether his tefillah was answered or not. He says, I know I wasn't answered. It's a Peladic thing. Rabbi Kiva Gadol should know whether his tefillah was answered or not. And he knows that it's impossible that his tefillah could not be answered. And therefore the only answer is, you gave me the wrong name. And what happened? Rabbi Shlomo Eger went back to check. Instead of Sarah bas Rivka, her name was Rivka bas Sarah. He sends the name Rivka bas Sarah. A few days later, he gets a letter back from Rabbi Kiva Eger. Hispalalti be'ad Rivka bas Sarah v'na'anesi. I prayed for Rivka bas Sarah, and I was answered. And kachava, she completely recovered. So we see from here the importance that when it comes to tefillah, you need to be absolutely precise, exact. You need to be accurate. You'd say Hashem knows? Yeah, Hashem knows. But if you ever tried, people always say, does it really matter if my tefillin is above the hairline? What if it's a millimeter below the hairline? Who cares? Hashem knows my heart is good. It's like saying, I want to listen to 880. I tuned it to 870. The radio station knows I want to listen to them. So does it really matter if I get it exactly right? Yeah. It's It's wonderful that you want to listen to the radio, but it ain't happening. You're not going to get any reception if you're off. So too is the same thing with a mitzvah, or tefillah, or anything. If you're off by a detail, you're not doing the mitzvah. You may want to do the mitzvah, but the reception is not going to be there. And that's what the Zohar says we learn from the Pasuk, Hatzileni na miyad achi miyad esav. Okay? That's segment number 1.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.